This here is from the Manson cases from June 5th, 2024, and she says, confirmed Marilyn Manson had dinner with Rose McGowan at a highly public restaurant. Will we eventually hear from Rose, who previously supported his accusers? Shout out to the Manson cases, by the way, doing a great job covering this. Maybe check her out on X. And also, we've got this post from a journalist of Manson in the restaurant. Unfortunately, we do not see Rose with him, but for now, I'll assume she was. The post says, last person one might expect to see at the next table at Hollywood's old-timely Musu and Frank Grill, Marilyn Manson in full makeup. To assess the dinner check, in the very dim dining room, he donned what were surely prescription glasses. So, unfortunately, we can't see Rose in the picture, and this person even jokes, at least her doppelganger, but, it's possible that it wasn't her. But for now, I'll take it as face value because Marilyn Manson Uncancelled also covered this, and he usually gets it right. So let's see what he's got to say. He's pretty much got a full article here on it. Marilyn Manson spotted having dinner with Rose McGowan. Journalist and screenwriter Phoebe Eaton spotted Marilyn Manson and someone she assumed to be Rose McGowan, or at least her doppelganger, having dinner this past Sunday at the legendary and very touristy Moosey and Frank Grill in Hollywood. Though she made it sound like she was unsure of the identity of the woman with Manson, I'm sure she just found it hard to believe. And since Ibarra kept her hidden most of the time, it has been most anonymously confirmed that it was indeed Manson's ex-fiancée, Rose McGowan, with him at dinner. Though it's unknown why they're having dinner together, we can assume they're at least on friendly enough terms to do so, which is quite significant in light of the roller coaster ride over the past few years since Evan Rachel Wood and others named Manson as their abuser in February 2021. As I've written elsewhere, we know that in 2020, Manson and McGowan were friendly and talking again, but as Evan's public testimony about an abusive past relationship was gaining publicity, she, as an early and vocal Me Too advocate, took a sudden turn and said she needed to reevaluate their friendship if it turned out to be true that it was Manson. Then, when Evan named Manson, she decided to support Evan and all Manson's accusers as a Me Too advocate, despite their stating that nothing of what he was accused of took place in their relationship, which lasted over 3 years from 1997 to 2001, adding she was disgusted by what she was hearing, assuming it was true. It's kind of weird to just support all accusers as if all of them are telling the truth. I've always said the more accusers there are, the higher chances of evidence. I think someone said 50 or something like that. Well, if you've got 50 people accusing you of something, you should have evidence. If you've got 2 or 3 or 4, that actually makes it harder to get evidence. That lowers the chances. But hypothetically, if there was like 300 people accusing you, well, that means there surely should be some evidence out of all those people. It's pretty simple mathematics. If you had 3,000 people accusing you and no evidence, you shouldn't say, wow, it must be true. 3,000 people said so. You should say, well, if that many people are accusing someone, there's got to be evidence out of all of them, because you can just say it, but what you can't do is get evidence. Anyway, let's continue. Meanwhile, in 2020, Wood was trying to get in McGowan's good graces, probably to win her over as an ally against Manson. This is why Evan said to have left Twitter in May 2020, since she alone decided to publicly defend Rose for standing up for Joe Biden accuser Tara Reade, and in turn received a lot of backlash. Well, we don't hear too much about that for some reason. Then after Evan named Manson and thanked Rose for her support, she would even begin to recommend McGowan's 2018 book Brave on her Instagram page, stating it was an excellent evolution of Hollywood, despite the fact that Rose dedicates an entire chapter to praising Manson and how well he treated her after being in many abusive relationships. Because Evan Rachel Wood uses a lot of logic. I wasn't being sarcastic. She must. Things began to take a turn when Rose started to become more critical of the Me Too movement. Then, on December 20th, 2022, she came out publicly against the harassment and bullying she received nearly 2 years prior to force her to make a statement against Manson right after Evan called him out by name as her abuser. Just a few days prior to this, Manson's ex-wife, Dita Von Tess stated something similar in one of her interviews. With this in mind, let's hope Rose has indeed found the courage to fully come forward with what she already knows, that Manson is not the man he's falsely accused to be. So, a real good article and review of Rose by Marilyn Manson Uncancelled, who always does these very detailed, great articles, by the way. And of course, thanks again to Lisa from the Manson Cases who sent me this. It's appreciated. That's about all we got for now. Let's see what happens here. I'm an X as well. Maybe give me a follow. If you're not subscribed here at the channel, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.